home today just like a crazy person, unpacking and repacking. I feel like if anyone could make a documentary on the lives of journalists and just the clothes, the packing, the getting new outfits, the doing the laundry, the clothing is oppressive. It's chaos.
That is funny because one of my thrown away chaos theories was going to be
I can't see it. What does it say?
clothes. But then I was like, that's too vague. And I was like, that's ridiculous. Let me go to something else. Man.
No, good. I feel like half of my life has been spent wrestling my clothing. Carrying it around from house to house. It's my clothing. Maria Taylor, our friend, once had a funny line. She said, I've been running away from my clothes for years. She just had clothes left at different houses around the country. So,
yeah, I just did a big donation, and I still have too many clothes. It's like I have like 10 different versions of everything, and it's annoying. Like I like the same kind of shirt. I have like Hawaiian shirts, and I have 10 of them, and I, for some reason, have just decided that I need 10 Hawaiian shirts, despite there being 2 that I probably will actually wear.
Right.
You know?
It is kind of your stupid thing. It's you're a fun shirt guy. There's some people that have their different style, and I think one of your styles is, hey, I'm a fun shirt guy.
I want to grow out of that. You know, I think you can only be fun shirt guy for so long. Then it gets kind of cringy, you know?
I was looking through every storage box that I have in our garage last week, looking for that cute picture of you with Steve Sarkisian for the podcast, and I stumbled across this. And so if you want to know why you're fun shirt guy, this is the little Hawaiian print shirt that you used to wear when you were 2 years old. And years ago, I was cleaning stuff out, and I was like, I'm going to keep 1 or 2 things that are like signature things from when he was a baby, just so you can remember this little boy. Look at how little you were, honey.
Oh, tiny.
Tiny. And you would wear this shirt all the time, and to the point where it was like riding up on your tummy because you'd kind of grown out of it.
I remember being really disappointed by that.
And I tried to find you a new one. I tried to find something similar. You only wanted that one. I would throw it away. You would get it out of the trash, and I'd pick you up from school one day, and there you are in that shirt again. So there's a cute story of why you're a Hawaiian shirt guy, because that was your Hawaiian shirt. But how about that I found it? I think that's amazing.
It's in the blood. Yeah, I want, maybe we'll get lucky, and we have a listener who can see that fabric and make me a grown-up Hawaiian shirt of that. If there's anybody skilled enough. But I want to make a shirt of that. I want to make an outfit of that. Maybe like a shirt.
Like a shorts matching outfit and the little blue collar. I mean, this is precious. I do need to wash it, but I'm scared to wash it that it will just like disintegrate and fall apart because it's, 22 years old probably, 24 years old probably.
Dip it in some water. Do it like the olden times.
Yeah, so in this one bin, I found that shirt, and then I found one of my dresses from when I was a little girl that my mom had saved for me. So that was kind of cool. But anyway, I digress.
Actually, you know what? Okay, while we're going down memory lane, I am furious about something in the old house. Okay, so when I was a little kid, I think we've talked about this. Have we talked about this? About Flick?
Oh, yeah, you better
Hold on. So, when I was a little kid, I was obsessed with Flick from Bug's Life. I think that's a great character for children. It's because I was reading this thing about, like, things that people like in movie characters, and he's resourceful. Being resourceful, I think, is just, it's a likable trait in people in general. And I think in my everyday life, I try to be resourceful. And like I always found that really cool. Indiana Jones is resourceful. It's always been a big thing.
Can I stop you for a quick second? Mostly because I have to sneeze. But is it resourceful or resourceful? I'm just asking. I don't know the answer.
I don't know. See, here's the thing. I'm doing new headphones on this one, and I can't hear myself, so I don't know what I sound like.
I'm just curious what the word actually is. But anyway, you're
resilient. I think it's resourceful.
Resourcely. Okay, perfect.
So, that's the character that taught me resourcefulness. I really have what's the word? Just a soft spot in my heart for Flick from Bug's Life, right? So when I was personal training 3, 4 or 5 years ago now. I had a new client. She was great. Shout out Noelle. And while we were training, I told her about my love of Flick and how much I love Flick. And I used to have this Flick toy that I would carry around everywhere, every vacation we went on. And I'd always manage to lose him. And so I'd have to get a new Flick. And it was this whole big drama.
I probably bought you about 12 Flicks throughout the course of your life.
Maybe 2 or 3. But I like a lot of Flicks. There was a lot of flickage.
Yes.
Yeah. And then she heard this story.
I just heard it. Oh dear, that was awkward.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. We're moving past it.
Okay.
And so I tell her this story, and the next session she comes in the next week and gives me a Flick from back in the day, like
old
in the
school.
box, old school Bugs Life Flick. Such a thoughtful gift.
Probably collectible.
Probably a collectible, just at random. So this Christmas, I was looking for the Just Dance games because we played, Just Dance. I was looking for those, and I open up one of the drawers, and what do I find? These little sons of... I find in this cabinet the Flick box stuff ripped all apart. No Flick inside of it. And then I go and look in a different drawer, and I find Flick himself with all of his gadgets and accoutrements just scattered all over the place. Our nieces and nephews have just scattered my Flick to the wind while they're playing down in the basement. I was furious, livid.
Furious. So when the kids come over, like we've set up our house so that the adults can all be upstairs because we have a big, large family. And then we just let the littles, we call them the littles, run wild in the basement. And I've tried to set up the basement with like a Pop-A-Shot, a foosball table, like fun stuff, games.
There's a ping pong table. Yeah.
Right, so that the kids can be downstairs and be entertained while we're having an adult party upstairs. And so you probably should have put that somewhere away that wasn't where the kids are going to get to it.
Everything I leave in the house, you move.
Okay, that's a fair point. That is a fair point. I do have a bin in the garage that's all your toys, your keepsake toys that I'm saving for the grandchildren. So we probably should have put it in there because I do have bins of toys that I don't let anyone play with. I'm saving those for you and your children when and if you decide to have children. Yeah,
well, this toy didn't make it, and I guess
so. You're angry. You're flicked off.
I'll dump him in there. No, Flick was he's a character of resourcefulness and power, and he loses it every now and again, but he's cool. I'm not flicked off. I'm the opposite.
Okay, you're going to deal with it.
I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing your frustration. I'm sorry. That's probably my fault because I do let the littles run wild in the basement. So, can we get to my incredible experience over the weekend?
I guess, yeah.
This is the funny thing is like I've literally been on TV doing sports your entire life. I got my first game with ABC doing a BYU-Utah football game when you were 8 weeks old, maybe a little older, maybe 9 to 10 weeks old. So when I say I've literally been on television your entire life, and you could care less. So
no, I went and found a place to watch it. And then
did you?
The biggest issue is some of these things are hard to find where to watch them, especially like I don't have cable. A lot of people, like nobody in the 2 apartments that I usually am in, don't have cable, so you have to go somewhere.
Oh,
and then,
I didn't even think about that.
I'm doing dry January, so after 2 hours sitting in a bar, I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. Because it's just, everybody's just, and it's like you realize how annoying drunk people are when you're not. So I left. So I watched the first half, and then I just kind of did Twitter updates. And I looked for it a little bit, but yeah.
Okay, so it was, of course, the college football playoff semifinal game, and I was assigned to Ohio State at Texas, and it was an unbelievable game. We got to the fourth quarter, and it is tied, and, I've now done every single Ohio State playoff game, and it was the first time during this playoffs that I was like, oh, no, these kids are tired. They have had so much energy and exuberance, and their sidelines are already, like, hyped up, and super positive, and they were quiet and tight, and because the offense wasn't getting drives established, Ohio State.
This is Ohio State.
They were flat, and I was on the Ohio State sideline. Laura Rutledge was on the Texas sideline, and so I was in my mind like, oh boy, this is not good for the Buckeyes. This is the worst I've seen them kind of look and feel throughout the course of the playoffs. Tie game, really tight.
Was the Longhorn there?
Bevo was there.
Bevo was there?
Yes, honey. I'm glad you asked. I took a selfie with Bevo just for you.
Good.
So Bevo had been banned from the SEC championship game because they didn't have room on the sidelines. But
fair enough. I mean,
ta-da! Mom took a selfie with Bevo just for you.
Nice. Bevo's looking good.
Yeah, Bevo's looking good. I love Bevo. I love
How many
Bevo's
Bevos
handlers.
have there been?
What?
How many Bevos have there been?
Oh, gosh. I should know this. I want to say this is 15.
This is the 15th Bevo?
Honestly, this is embarrassing to admit. I struggle with Roman numerals sometimes, so they'll be like Bevo, XVI, and I'm like, I think X is 10, I think 5 is V. Like, I struggle. So I think it's maybe Bevo 15, but I will Google as we're speaking.
We'll figure that out. Okay.
We'll figure it out.
So
anyway, so the game's coming down. Ohio State scores. It's kind of these crazy swings of momentum. Ohio State scores. Texas comes right back down and scores. And Texas is driving to win the game with like 2.5 minutes left in the game. Or they're driving to tie the game. Okay. And Jack Sawyer is this kid from Pickerington, Ohio, grew up about 30 minutes away from Ohio State. And he is just this fun, exuberant. I call him the heartbeat of the Buckeyes this year because every time I'm on the sidelines with him, we just have the best time. And he is hyping up everybody and telling everybody how much he loves them and all this stuff. So anyway, Texas is on the 1 yard line. 1 yard line. If they score, they go in. We go to overtime. And Jack Sawyer comes around, rips the ball out of Quinn Ewer's hands. I got to go back and look at the play, whether he intercepted it or he just ripped it out. Jack goes 83 yards. He's this big defensive lineman. 83 yards the other way for a touchdown. And that's it. And the Buckeyes win the game. So I don't know. It was just this really incredible moment that a kid who grew up his whole life knowing he wanted to go to play for the Buckeyes, being the guy that then cements the legacy for the Buckeyes to now play in the national championship. So I thought you would appreciate that. Jack Sawyer. I'm sure people say this on Twitter, but I think it's true. He'll never buy a drink again in Columbus. He'll be a legend there for life.
Nice.
It was very cool.
Columbus, I mean, he's probably going to want to be there because Columbus, Ohio is so much fun.
Well, he lives there and his family's from there. You're being sarcastic and snarky. I actually like Columbus, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind Columbus, but his parents just bought a bar. So anyway, next, I guess Wednesday, I'm flying up to Columbus to do kind of Sports Center coverage. So I'm just hoping I can find the parents' bar, go to the bar, and have his folks, like maybe pour me a drink and tell me some good Jack stories. So we'll see if that happens.
Wait, so I'm thinking we should open a bar. Now that you're talking about it, I'm just thinking, we're gonna have a new segment called Max Bad Pitches.
Okay, I like it.
Okay,
think positive. It could be a great pitch. Let's hear it.
Well, we'll see. I think we should open a bar. We got to come up with a bar name, though.
Workshop it.
We'll workshop. What do you got?
It's funny you say that because we have some friends that own lots of businesses down in St. Petersburg, where we live part of the year. And they've been after me. There's all these women's sports bars popping up around the country. It was kind of founded by this woman in Portland called the Sports Bra.
What's the difference between a women's sports bar and a regular sports bar?
They only show women's sports on the TV. Because you wouldn't know this because of, male privilege. When you walk into a sports bar, you're in a fight for your life to get women's sports put up on the TV. Now, I will say this. It's gotten a lot better. Bars nowadays, like you'll go in and there'll be women's basketball on, there'll be women's softball, gymnastics. But I mean, my whole life I've had to beg people to put a women's game on in a bar. So this is a bar that only shows women's sports. Now, I know you probably wouldn't want that bar, but think about you being the bartender at a women's sports only bar. Like you'd be darling. People would love you. You would have all the stories.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. We'll find somebody younger less jaded. You know, I think the bartending days for me, they're
over.
They've come to a close. It's just kind of, it's exhausting. You got to talk to everybody, and not everybody's interesting, and everybody thinks they are, and I'm not that interesting, to be fair. Like, so.
But people think they're very interesting the drunker they get.
Exactly, and then you have to
hear. Like, listen, man, back in 19.
But I mean,
not everybody, but some.
On the opposite side, some people are, but for every really like, oh my, like you were gonna. What was one of the crazy stories I've heard? This one guy was in the military and was telling me all these military stories, and I'm like, oh, that's crazy. And he was really cool, and he was younger. Or no, actually, the best one. This guy worked for NASA. He actually gave me a NASA hat. He worked for NASA. He like had patented a bunch of different little like pieces of machinery and everything, and he was fascinating. And then next to him was just the loudest woman you've ever met who wouldn't shut up. And I was like, I'm trying to hear about NASA, and this guy's just talking. So I think that the bartending days are over. But okay, so female only or women's only.
It doesn't have only female patrons. Everybody can come, but we just focus on showing the women's sports. So, 24/7, any women's sports that is going on in the world, we are showing it.
Do we show the Super Bowl?
Yes.
So mostly only women's sports.
Yeah, we could do, maybe we could turn the tables and do what men have done to us for so long. Is like it's 80% women, 20% men's sports. But, basically it's like an equal opportunity. If women come in and they say, hey, I want to watch the Chiefs playoff game, of course we'd put it on. But
so just a cool bar.
Yeah, it's a cool bar, but we want to give opportunities so you can really watch women's sports.
What if we name the bar the Cool Bar?
I feel like we could do better, honey.
A cool bar.
A cool bar?
Because then it's like, oh, I want to go to a cool bar. People are like, what bar? And they're like, a cool bar.
Okay, let's keep workshopping.
Ooh, what about, I don't know. So, like, whenever you, because, like, I know when...
People will be like, hey, where do you want to go out tonight? And you'll be like, I don't know.
I don't know. And then, boom.
It's like, our stuff pops up in their Siri or their phone. That's pretty funny.
See?
That's pretty funny.
I don't know. The I don't know bar. What do you want to drink? I don't know.
I don't know.
The I don't know special.
Okay, so back to the Jack Sawyer story. His dad, they're going to open. I don't know if it's open yet. I know they bought it, but I don't know if it's open yet. So I'll find that out on Wednesday. Conversely, so the other team that will now be in the national championship game is Notre Dame. So I had Notre Dame the first game of the year, and one of my very good friends, who's incredible at her job, Katie Lonergan, is their director of sports information media, college sports communicator is what they're called now. And so I went up there for 3 days in August, visited her, stayed, went to the team, went to 2 practices, hung out, like really immersed myself in the South Bend culture. And I went to this bar called the Linebacker. And when I tell you, it looks like a shack. I'm sure it's built a little stronger than the shack because it's been there for a long time. But they have a tradition at the Linebacker where you have to lick this pole for good luck. And I'm just going to tell you, I did lick the pole. And since
Weren't you sick this morning? You said you said
this
you
was
were
in
sick
August.
This morning.
This was in August. So I just want to throw it out there. Maybe the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are in the national championships because someone with good vibes and good aura and energy.
Think about everything that you're about to say.
What?
No, it's good. Yeah, you what? What did you do? I missed it. Can you say it one more time?
Oh no! I hear what you're saying now.
What did you say? What did you say?
I said I licked the pole, but now I'm going to say I shouldn't say that because bad people will be bad. Which brings me. Men be better is one of my topics today.
That was your topic last week. You can't double
Something else happened. Something else happened.
Oh God. Okay. What happened this time?
So a 55-year-old man was just arrested today for stalking Caitlin Clark, and I'm just so irritated by this because I know Kiki Rice, Paige Beckers, now Caitlin Clark. These young college-age women are dealing with creepy stalkers. And I'm just like, that's one of the side effects of of women's sports blowing up and they're on social media. And I'm just so frustrated that these young women are having to deal with this absolute nonsense. Like, men, be better.
I know with athletes, there's that whole thing of like, watch out because, some girl will try to get pregnant for the money or whatever.
Right.
Isn't that a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a thing with everybody, pretty much. But
yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Well, not if you don't have any money. See, this is my first point of advice today. If you don't have any money, they will have to sleep with you for your personality, fellas. So
stay poor. Is that what you're advising?
If you can stay as poor as possible, but develop good, a good personality, be able to tell a joke or two, carry a conversation, then you're safe.
That's great advice. That is great advice.
I feel like you don't like the advice.
No, it's good. I just hope you don't decide to stay poor just for that reason for the rest of your life.
Well, I have a girlfriend, so I'm good. I don't have to stay poor anymore. Yeah, we're locked in. She got in at the ground floor.
At the ground floor.
Yeah.
The ground floor of the financial. Okay,
financial ground floor.
Speaking of which, before we get too far down the road, I have a crazy week. Can I tell you about my week coming up?
Oh, your week coming up. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to Nashville tonight. The NCAA is having a big convention that I'm hosting, emceeing part of their convention tomorrow. Then I'm going to Columbus to do Sports Center coverage, so hopefully I get to hang out at Jack Sawyer's dad's bar. And then I'm flying to Atlanta for the national championship game. So
nice.
Do you have any questions for me about this crazy week?
No, I'm good. What's Nashville like? Okay, so who? I guess we can't really. Who do you want to win? Is what I was going to ask.
Oh yeah, I don't ever pick who I want to win. Like I really don't care who wins.
Yeah.
This is a funny story. So we were doing the WNBA finals, and Nafisa Collier, who is someone that I adore. I've covered her since she's
the best.
18 at UConn. I love Nafisa.
Yeah.
And she came up to me. I did an interview with her right before the game, and she looked at me. She's like, "You're rooting for us, right?" And I said, "I am rooting for you, Nafisa." And she kind of looked like, "You are?" And I said to her, I honestly will say a little prayer before every game I work, just bless everybody so everybody performs at their highest level. I'm literally rooting for every kid out here on this field or every woman out here on this court to be the best version of themselves today. Because I'm a mom, and I think I have these emotions that always bubble right up because of my momdom. But I don't want to see kids fail at stuff, and it hurts my heart. Quinn Ewers of Texas, he's going to think about that, giving up the ball in that moment. They are knocking on the door to tie the game and possibly go to the national championship. That play is going to haunt that kid for the rest of his life. I don't love that. I don't want that for him. So the mom in me, I'm always I just want everybody to be at their very best so they can say, I walked off this field with the best version of me.
Well, some of these kids are going to lose. I'm going for Notre Dame.
You're going for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I like Notre Dame. I like their head coach.
Marcus Freeman is a badass. We haven't established if we can swear on this show, but I'm going to because I love him.
Gives a
McKylan.
No, Robbie will bleep it out. We're fine.
Oh, you stinker. No, Marcus Freeman's awesome. In fact, you made me just remember. I was going to look through my Ohio State files. I covered him when he was a player for Ohio State. And now who he's coaching against to win a national championship?
Ohio State.
The plot thickens. The plot thickens.
He's a good-looking dude. He seems like a badass. He's very eloquently. He speaks very eloquently. I was watching some of those interviews, and I was like, all right, this is. I usually will just pick a team based off of maybe a player that I'm like, oh, that guy's awesome, or the coach is awesome, or I watch a game and they play great. Like I said, I go by hot girl rules, and I so far I like them. You're not going to pick, but I'm not going to pick. Rooting for them.
But I will tell you that there's some cool things that maybe you're not aware of. Marcus Freeman is the first African American head coach in a national championship game. So think of
and he's Asian,
Korean. Yes.
Korean, Asian.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So I am really excited for him because you think of all the great college football players, coaches through the years, African American, that have meant so much to this game, Polynesian, all the different races who have been so crucial to college football, and that he's the first to play and then ascend. I think it's really a special storyline. And let me ask you this, because he kind of had I don't want to say he bowed up, but when people keep trying to ask him, hey, you're the first African-American Asian coach to do this, he kind of makes it sound like he doesn't want that to be the thing or to draw attention to himself. What do you think about that?
I love that. I think that's the coolest part, is because he's like, yeah, I am that thing, but that's not why I'm great. I am a great coach, and I happen to be, Asian American and African American. I like that. I think that is kind of the messaging I've gotten from him, and I think that's dope, because I think there's like this ideal sometimes to just be like, I'm great because of my race or whatever, however that goes, and it can almost be, it's like diminutive, because he's a great coach.
He's a great coach.
He knows what a hot iron smells like. There's these little things that might be different because of his culture and like where he grew up and all that kind of stuff. There's nothing to do with, it's not the only thing. It has something to do with it, but it's not the only thing that makes him a great coach. He's a great coach because of a lot. There's a lot of work that he put in.
That's himself. Really well said, honey. I like that.
Yeah.
So one other thing that happened again, I went there before their first game of the year. And he had brought in all of these people from the military, from different branches of the Special Forces, and they met with the team. And they were nice enough to let me sit in the team meeting. And when you're sitting there listening to men talk about how they work as a unit and how they work as a team so that they don't get killed, it was really raw. And they would talk about mistakes they made where guys got hurt, or mistakes they'd made where a teammate got shot. And it was raw. It was very raw. But I think those kids, and a lot of those kids, kept asking questions after the presentation of the men, and they were asking about performing with anxiety, is how anxious kids are getting. All these eyes are on them. How do they do their job even while they're anxious? So it was just this really cool moment. I feel like I got to be a fly on the wall at the beginning of their season to see where this special journey started. And I can't wait to see how it ends for either team. I really like both coaches. Ryan Day's unbelievable. Before the playoffs started, a lot of his fan base was calling for his job, calling for his head. And I have a video on my phone, so I might post it. I walked out of their building one day. This is like December 18th. And I'm like, Buckeye fans, I'm just leaving this building. I'm leaving the Woody, they call it. And every kid in this building... Is that like a
Toy Story reference?
No, it's not. It's for Woody Hayes, who was a legendary football coach at Ohio State University. So it's named after Woody Hayes' football building. Yep. So they call it the Woody.
Cool.
And it's not named after Woody in Toy Story, honey. But anyway, I walked out and I did this little video, and I was like, I'm leaving the Woody. Every kid in that building loves Ryan Day. Every kid in that building is playing for him. Every kid in that building thinks he's a good coach. Like, you fans, let's try to practice some optimism. And so I kind of went off. I was so frustrated with, you know me, I just hate the negativity that people are living in this world with. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I want to lift people up and have it be positive and joyful. So anyway, I hope the fans are feeling joy and feeling optimism now, because, they're playing for a national championship. So
I like that.
Are we ready for Chaos Theories, honey?
Let's do it. I think we need Chaos Theory music.
Oh, yeah.
I think we need, let's do Chaos Theory.
Chaos Theory. You know what I was thinking is you should go back and watch the movie Chaos Theory with Ryan Reynolds and see if there's any cute clips in there that we could steal, like him saying, it's time now for Chaos Theory.
It's not a very cute movie. It's
a drama. We'll work on it.
It's a very dark movie. It looks so much cuter, and then I watched just like a little clip of it. I was like, oh, let me just see what it's like, and it's sad. It's a sad movie. Well, we
more stole the idea of.
But we like the theory.
We like the theory. We do like the Chaos Theory. So, okay, here's my first one.
It's a sad movie, though. Okay, what do you got?
It's time now for Chaos Theory. How charitable are you? And so why I'm asking you this is, of course, the California fires are raging right now. Everything's raging. And I was coming home from football, and, like the first few days that the fires had just devastated everything, I'm like knee deep in football, and I hadn't really been able to process everything. I'd seen the news, but so I'm flying home from my game, and I see the devastation in LA and how, just whole neighborhoods have lost their homes. And we had a situation this summer where I got evacuated from our home. I didn't know if when I drove back up, my home would be standing or not. Just that feeling and anxiety, I understand what these people are going through, but I didn't lose my home. So anyway, I just randomly put out a little thing on Twitter, like, if anybody needs a place to stay, we have kind of like a basement apartment. People could have their own space. Like, we have a house to stay. It's only a 9-hour drive. And it went really viral, but in a weird way, because there was a lot of negative people that were like, well, why aren't you helping people in North Carolina that are still dealing with the flood stuff? And I was like, well, I didn't feel like they could drive here very easily. So proximity was a big thing. But do you think it's weird if we just open our home to people for if they need a place to live? You wouldn't do that? Why?
I have an apartment, but...
Right, nobody could fit in your house, but...
no, unless somebody wants to cuddle. But I think that... Yeah, I think the best way to be charitable, or the best way to use social media, is really just to post to other people who are doing charitable things. Because then you can't... social media is just like so you get a rat king, you just put a bunch of rats in a bowl and then they just fight. It's not really... But I think it's good for information, like if you know where there is help with it. And then I think just going and actually doing stuff, like going through the proper channels, is the best way to be charitable. Because, people are the worst. And, well, not... Some people are great.
No, there's a lot of
social media.
Yeah. People can try to drag you down.
It doesn't matter what you do. You could be like, oh, look, there's a video of me peeing on someone on fire because I was out of water. And they'd be like, you're a monster! Like, they would only focus that you're peeing on someone. Like, it's just, no matter what the context of anything is, that's a horrible example.
Yeah,
but no matter what the context is,
brutal, but...
whatever the context is, like, social media is just kind of this weird lens where if people can be negative, they will be negative. So I'd say post information of like where to go for shelter and stuff like that.
I'm trying to do that, but I also did
safer.
Yeah, I did a big donation to the American Red Cross. There's this helpless feeling of I need to help people. Like it's a feeling inside of you of like I want to help people. And I had these memories come up of my dad, Del Rowe. He lived in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm sure people would know him that listen to this and be like, oh my gosh, I do remember. He was very kind. My dad would just randomly bring strangers home all the time. Now, I've lived through it to tell this story, but we would have Christmas Eves. He was a volunteer on Temple Square for the Latter-day Saint, visitor center. So people would come into town, or people were in town, whatever, they're visiting there. He would bring home random families, and they would stay at our house instead of pay for a hotel. Strangers, like complete strangers. And, sometimes my mom would be like, oh my gosh, what is he doing? Which I totally get it. But this is back in the day before we really knew about all the dark people out there, crime or whatever. Like, I don't think I really even knew about crime.
Well, not dark people, bad people.
Yeah. And so anyway, we had strangers in our home all the time. And my dad just had this big heart of like, if I can help somebody, I will. If I can make your day easier, I will. So I wondered if I have put like any trickle down. Like I remember when you were a kid, sometimes I'd feel bad. Like we don't do enough service projects. So I grew up doing lots of service projects for people. Do you do any service projects? Have I raised you to have a heart for service? None?
No, but I will help people when I can in any way that I can. I like during all the Black Lives Matter stuff, I donated to that. Yeah, I donated.
You just donated all your clothes. Where did you donate your clothes to?
Salvation Army. Just donated all my clothes to Salvation Army, which is charitable, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to do it. I wouldn't ever recommend that you let people into your home.
Well, clearly, I would vet them, honey. Clearly, I would vet everything. I'm not just going to be crazy about it, but I have a place for people to live, and people are living in shelters,
Yes, I think there's a way to do that safely.
Right, of course.
Or, you know what? A hotel room is pretty cheap.
Right, pay for people's... I was more thinking of, like, it's going to take months, if not years, for people to rebuild their homes. Like, where are all these people going to live for the next year?
I know. It's a whole tragedy. I know.
It's crazy.
I'm glad we're talking about it on our comedy podcast.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to bring us down, but I just wanted to ask you, like, do you feel like you're a charitable person? And
I do. I think I am.
What are your values there?
I think it's always good to help people, and it's always, whenever I have any way to help people, I try to. Okay. Yeah, I think charity it's an interesting idea. I think there's other ways to do stuff as well, like just being kind in general, because I don't know, I don't trust all these charity organizations necessarily, because we've seen sometimes they just take money. But we have a nonprofit, and so I've been really studying up on nonprofit stuff, and it's a very, you can do so much good with a nonprofit, so it's so interesting to see kind of all the different ways that you can actually be charitable that will be helpful, actually.
Yeah.
Because, you think, like, oh, if I just give a bunch of people money, like, that should help. And it's like, well, some of these people, let's say, like, a homeless person off the street in New York, they might need more than just money. They might need, like, a support system. So it's kind of just finding out, well, where those support systems, what kind of places need help to actually support. You have to actually do a lot of research, and it's hard. It's annoying, because it's a lot of the places that you would want to give money, it's harder to find the ones that actually need it, because the ones that have enough money to sponsor themselves do. So
that's one reason that I also really believe in being a body on the ground of, like, I want to go and work because I can control that, and I know that I worked all day and this happened and we changed this family's life or we changed this person's life. So I think that there should be a good combination of donations, but I also think there should be a good combination of, like, I have a ton of energy and passion, and I can make a difference by going and working and having me be there and try to change things.
Yeah, I have a buddy, his name's Pedro. He's an actor, writer, director and stuff, and he's just a great dude. And he's out there, he's giving live information on, like, where you can go volunteer, where you can go get this, where you can go get that. And I was like, that's the way to do it. He's a great guy. And I think that's a great way to use your platform or whatever, is to actually just give information. So if there's somebody near you that, like, doesn't know what to do or how to help, they can just they have an answer right there. I think that's the best way, is to just actually be actively doing it. Yeah. Anyways, well, mine.
Okay. What's your chaos theory?
Mine are no good. Mine was going to be scheduling.
What is that about?
So we need to work on scheduling.
Speak more. What do you mean?
So I'm just thinking it's because we had a long talk about it last week, and I just thought it was funny, just in general, because I have this issue too, and I had some issues with it this past week, of, like, what are the appropriate steps with scheduling? So, like, I had a friend who was busy the night before we hung out, and then he canceled the next day because he was exhausted from the night before, because he's a bartender, right?
Right.
But he canceled, like, after we were supposed to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Scheduling is a hot topic, particularly among friend groups. Like, I would say, I have a girlfriend that she will, like, schedule something with you a month out, and she literally is expecting no changes to the schedule. And I'm like,
I think that's fair.
I'm like, I'm putting this on my calendar, and, like, maybe 2 or 3 days out, I'll be like, all right, can we do this?
See, I think I think you're in the wrong on that one. I think if somebody is willing to schedule something a month in advance, it's there. You do it.
Right. But my life changes. My life is very chaotic and has lots of different things. Like, I'll have something planned, and then they're like, hey, can you go to Columbus and go cover the Buckeyes on Wednesday?
Excuses are like buttholes. Everybody has one, and it stinks.
That's gross, honey.
It's just saying about excuses.
Gross, but good. Anyway.
It's good. But
scheduling, I'm not good at scheduling, I think, in this respect, too, of I overschedule.
Yeah.
I overschedule. I'm trying to get better where I'm scheduling downtime. So, like, your buddy, he didn't schedule, like, hey, I know I'm coming off this. I should maybe schedule a day to recover, and then I'll schedule with Mac the next day. So I definitely think that I am starting to schedule my downtime. Like, I know this day I'm flying in. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to have to unpack and do all my laundry. I'm not scheduling anything. So probably what you're referring to is we were going to try to tape our podcast on Sunday nights moving forward. And Sunday night, your mom was on the couch in a coma. So
that's okay. I'm
scheduling for tiredness.
Yeah, but it's an interesting thing that I've been thinking about because like I've been trying to schedule more stuff because I'm pretty bad. I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll do that, and I'll completely forget about it. And it is kind of nice to have stuff scheduled out, but it's also, I don't know, I get resentful of people when they're like, hey, can I do this at this time? And it's like, leave me alone. I don't want to schedule something with you in a month. But that's the only way you can like see friends. It's tough.
Yeah, scheduling's tricky, and friendships can fall out and have problems if your scheduling styles don't mesh. If you have the hard scheduler with firm boundaries, I would say I'm a soft scheduler where I'm like, I'm going to schedule this, but I need you to have some flexibility because my life might change. So yeah, scheduling's tough, honey. But you do need to communicate better. Here's what I would say is people need to give you like, hey, 24 hours notice of, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this now. I know we had this planned, but it's like honesty, just total honesty is really important, I think.
It's tough with friends and family though, because like you kind of have this built-in like, well, I can cancel, or like, well, I can change it because they're friends or family. You know what I mean?
So you'll treat them worse than you would like a random acquaintance because they have to forgive you or they have to be patient with it.
And it's I feel like that's wrong, but I feel like that happens with everybody.
Right. I actually think we should do the opposite. Not a lot of people do this. I think you're really right, is we tend to treat our friends and family the worst because they have to stay liking us. They're our friends and family, where we really should treat them the best and not cancel on them. Like, you're a priority. I'm not canceling. This is a priority. Work or whatever else can wait. My family and my friends. And I think there are probably a lot of people who are good with that. I'm learning to be better with that, of like, work is not my only thing. I've struggled with that throughout my life, but right. So scheduling, good communication, cancel with notice, and total honesty of like, here's what really happened. The thing that really gets me is when people lie about why they're canceling. I hate that. Like, do not lie about canceling. Do not make up some excuse because you'll always get busted.
Yeah, oh my gosh, there was a thing a couple weekends ago, and it was like a whole to-do about the canceling with some friends, and I was like, just say you can't come. I don't need. Here's
the
my
big dramatic story, right?
I don't give a flying F about why you're canceling. When it's friends canceling like a thing, like, oh, we're all supposed to have a game night. If you're gonna cancel, just cancel. I don't need.
I can't make it tonight.
Fran, this isn't you because Fran has canceled on me a couple times too. He's one of our producers. But it's not you. It's a different person. But there was like a novel and 2 phone calls, and I'm like, shut up. Just say you can't
come. The canceling's one thing, but all the excuses make the canceling more annoying.
Yeah, it makes it worse. And then they're like trying to like kowtow and be like, well, we're gonna do lab, but we do, and like can't like schedule something for next time after they've canceled. I'm like, I don't care. Just cancel now. I'm so happy you canceled because I didn't want to do it anyway. So like, just.
But again, just like the honest communication, like, hey, are you really into this? If you really want to do this and it means something to you, we'll try to make it work. If you don't really care that much and you wouldn't be offended if we cancel, can we cancel? I always think that's a good thing.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, this is actually a good topic, honey. I'm glad you brought this up because I've definitely had friends get mad at me because I'm a serial canceler because of work, but I'm trying to not let work impact. So I'm getting better. I'm getting better. All right. Last thing before I let you get out of here is put your hands up. What? Do you have yet another bandage again?
No, it's the same one. It's the same one from last week.
Okay. I was just going to say, do we need to take away your cooking privileges? What is happening?
This is just, it's tender, so I just leave it on there so I don't tap it on stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been switching out the Band-Aids every day.
All right. Well, thank you for calling me. I do need to run because I have a flight tonight. But I just wanted to say thank you for watching at least half of my game. National Championship game is coming up Monday the 20th. We'll be watching. So please be watching. We could see the first African-American Korean head coach win a national championship, or we could see the Buckeyes and Ryan Day win his first national championship. Buckeyes have won one. He has not. Lots of great storylines, so please watch our game Monday night. And then I will keep you posted about Jack Sawyer's Bar in Columbus and see if we can get some good bar ideas from his family bar that they'll have.
And we'll start our bar, the I Don't Know bar, for women's basketball.
All women's sports.
But then, for all women's sports. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment any chaos theories that you may or may not have. Just let your other friend, if you're a mom, put us in your Facebook group to the other moms, because we have little to no information that's helpful, but we're fun to listen to. So,
well, if we quit swearing, some of us, maybe they would share that.
You're the one who started the swearing today.
You're right.
Don't come at me about the swearing. You started this.
You are correct,
okay?
Sir. You are correct, sir.
All
right.
All right. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.